And your other co-host, Sage Branch, and this is Behind the Bulldogs.
Today we're going to steer away a little bit from athletics and talk about academics. We have Lexi Dooley here.
She's an atmospheric science major, but also she is a D1 athlete, and we're going to be diving into her life here as a woman in STEM.
So my first question would be, how long have you had a passion for atmospheric science, and what led you down this route?
Okay, so always say the same story. You would be surprised how many times people ask this question, just because meteorologists always have known from such a young age. But mine is, since I was, 4 probably. I grew up on the coast in New Jersey, and I just watched the storms go by, and I could see literally the entire coast, and I would just stay up filming videos, watching the lightning. And my grandparents and parents would call me the weather girl since as long as I could remember, honestly. And I always knew I had this passion for weather because it was genuinely the only thing that would light me up, literally. And anyone who knows me knows that too. Like, I literally just have this crazy joy when I talk about weather, which is so crazy.
I love it.
But I didn't really know I could make a job out of it, and even when I got older and knew that I could go down this path, it was I knew what it entailed, just how difficult it would be, and that there was just so much math and science. And growing up, I just never saw myself as that person because I just didn't really have the confidence, just academically. I just had a tough time in school throughout middle school and high school. So it was just something I just never really saw in the cards for me. But it wasn't until high school, and I took my AP Environmental Science class, and I won't nerd out, but I just saw this one thing that I love, and I was like, damn, I really need to be doing atmospheric science. And so that's why I started to really look into it, was I just knew that passion should go over my confidence. Even if I was scared about doing it, you should always let passion lead and drive you to do what you need to do. And even though it's been really tough with finding that confidence level, it's always the passion that helps me get through it. And so it's the best decision I ever made, for sure. And it's definitely had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it always goes back to the 4-year-old, 5-year-old weather girl that gets me through. So yeah.
So with kind of, as you said, this is something that you've been wanting to do from a really young age. How was knowing what you wanted to do and also pursuing being a collegiate athlete, how is that balancing those two things? This being a super competitive major, how is that life kind of balancing both of those things?
Yeah, so that was another wrinkle that was tough to figure out, how to do both of sports and atmospheric science, and that's why I went to Drexel originally. It was so difficult finding somewhere that had both this major, that had atmospheric science as a major and also a Division I sports team. So that was something that was really hard to find, and once I realized I knew that I wanted to go to grad school, that was always the goal. I wanted to go to grad school for atmospheric science. I was like, well, maybe I should try out environmental science as an undergrad, and I'll specialize later. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I was originally at Drexel. And it was, academically, I still really enjoyed it, but it was just, I was one out of 20,000 people who loved weather, which is really hard to not be around your people and your community. Yeah. And just, things with soccer weren't working out as much. And so coming here was the best decision I made, for sure. Sorry, this is a roundabout way of answering your question. No, but yeah, so when I came here, everything really changed. When I was in school at Drexel, things were hard, of course, but here is just like a whole nother level of academic rigor, and with sports and everything, it's a very interesting balance. I mean, obviously we just ended, and for me it might have been my last season, and you know, I talk to my classmates all the time, and they always ask me like, how do you do this? I don't even have time, and I don't do anything. You know, like I don't have a life, and I'm like, yeah, it's really hard. I was literally calculating it the other day. It's like 20 to 30 hours a week. Like I was doing the math for it, and I have, you know, 3 jobs and doing a research project with San Diego. All this, it's just, it's a lot. But
we're gonna get into that later. So, I have a question about that.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like, again, it all goes down back to the passion. Like when the days get hard, it's like you do it because you love it, and you know, there are a lot of crash outs along the way, but it's all worth it in the end, you know. And I feel like I can finally see things starting to pay off, because at first it was kind of like me grinding all the time with not really any reward, but now I'm starting to see those rewards, which is cool. So,
but I applaud you, because a lot of the science classes here are really bad weed out classes, and I fell victim to that in my freshman year of choosing the science route, and then ultimately I just knew that like wasn't for me at all. So like I applaud you for being in like one of the most hardest and most competitive majors here. So it's really impressive what you do.
Yeah, I'm in meteorology right now. It's not looking too good, guys. It's honestly extremely hard. I didn't really think weather would be that hard. I kind of thought it was just like you look outside and you figure out, you know, what's going on today. It's way more than that. You have to calculate air parcels and where the wind is going, eastward, westward. I don't even know my north, south. I don't even know. So I'm like struggling.
No, that's a super common misconception though. I swear nobody understands how difficult the major is, or just the field in general. I mean, there's so I won't say I get in fights with people, but I used to get in fights with people who like engineering majors and stuff, and yes, their major is super hard, but they would be like, oh yeah, you're like maybe top 5 of hardest majors on campus, but I don't know. And I'm like, okay, because at this point I just like look at them and I'm like, all right, well, I'll let you think what you want to think, because if they saw half of the stuff, if you saw the equation sheet I had for my exam yesterday with the same professor, bro, there's no numbers. It's just letters. Like,
I don't know anything.
Yeah, when math starts to involve letters, that's when I'm like, he's out on that one, because there's absolutely no way.
But also, I think people just don't, I mean, I know you'll probably talk about this and the things I say all the time, but the stupid weather apps, I feel like they feed into the misconception of like, well, it's just, you know, how hot or cold is it outside? It can't be that hard. And it's like, if you saw the equations and the math and the time and the coding that went into all of it and all of that, and not from the weather app, people would understand a lot more. It's just like it's literally a combination of physics, math, chemistry, like literally all the hard things that people could think of. It's meteorology, you know. So yeah, that's true though.
Do you want to talk about your program a little bit before I ask like my next question?
What, the forecasting program?
Yes. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a crazy road. I feel like it took a while. So it all started when, I guess it was 2 years ago now. And, you know, when I first got here, coming from Drexel, I really didn't know anything. I've learned a crazy amount of stuff in the past year to 2 years. But, you know, I knew the basis of what things I need to look at, the resources I need to look at, which I think is like the big lack in, you know, the general public of looking at stuff. But yeah, so I didn't really know that well how to forecast yet, but I did know when storms would be getting there, if they would come, better than like your average weather app or whatever. So yeah, it was my first season here. I'd say it was like September, and the first time I told our coaches like, hey, this was for a practice, like, hey, we're gonna get hit with a storm. And I'll never forget, Andy said to me, he was like, are you just trying to get out of practice? I was like, bro, like, no. So I think obviously it's a lot different now. They literally ask me for forecasts like all the time.
Yeah.
But at first it was, I was scared
yeah.
to say anything. But yeah, so there was a game and I knew there was this big storm that was going to come through. And I was so annoyed because I knew it was going to get canceled or at least have a lightning delay. And so then, sure enough, we played for 5 minutes, and then it, lightning delay, get inside, blah, blah, blah. So then, this was kind of bold of me, but I went to the tent where all the operations people are, the refs were, and I was like, someone give me a computer. And I just started, looking up stuff and going to where I normally go for forecasting things. And I was just like, okay, so as soon as the lightning delay is over, we need to start ASAP. Because there's going to be a second round that comes through of storms. If we want to get this full game in, we need to start as soon as lightning delay is over. So I'd recommend, tiny warm-up, whatever. And everyone was kind of like, okay, I don't know. They just kind of shook their heads, and that's exactly what happened. I think they listened to me. I don't know. And
was
then
that our game that we just had?
It was the Citadel. No, it was the Citadel.
The
Do you
Citadel?
remember? Yeah, it was a home game. It was a long time ago. It might have been one of your first games ever.
Oh. So
yeah.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, so then it happened exactly how I said it would. And I talked to Colin. Probably shouldn't say any names, but whatever. And he was like, "Wow, this is really cool. You really know what you're doing." And I was like, "Yeah, I could literally tell you if there's a storm coming ever, And I said I should do this for you guys, yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, we definitely should." And so that's kind of where it started. It was really hard to get it going, though. I think it took me 2 years probably because I went in, tried to talk about it. They were starting to say some stuff about how the athletic trainers were being paid to forecast the games and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's
what
not
does that even mean?
it's not true. It's not
I
true.
I don't think the hospital pays them
No,
to do that.
there's no way. There's no way.
Just saying, but okay.
But I also heard too that the trainers liked doing it. I was like, well, they're not good at it, so
They
I don't
like
know what you want to do about that. And then I had to figure out how to get paid and all these things. So basically, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do this officially. I'm just gonna have to do it on my own time and then show them the results, because I confidently knew that I could do well for forecasting for things. So reached out to the baseball coach at the time and just said, hey, I want to forecast because I think you get, especially for baseball, because they need it for knowing how to take the tarp off and stuff, so they kind of need it more than us, because we just care about lightning. So yeah, so he kind of saw it at first as this is an internship, I'll help you. And I, he agreed, so that's all I cared about. And at the time, this is kind of crazy, my mentor was giving me access to the program that TV stations use, and it's over a $30,000 subscription a year, and I was giving them these graphics to the coach that thought he was helping me. And I was giving him these beautiful graphics, giving him great forecasts, and at a certain point he started to rely on me for forecasts. He would seek me out and be like, hey, I need this forecast, I need it. And there was 1 or 2 times where he sent me text and was like, thank you so much, this worked out so well, we saved so much money because we didn't have to hire an umpire, and we didn't need to get food and stuff, and we wouldn't have known to cancel these things if you didn't tell us, and this was really great, or we knew how to reschedule it, and we did a double header in this day instead of 2 days because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So it just turned into this thing where he instead of him thinking he was helping me, I think he started to realize, wow, she's helping me, So then that's when I had the hardcore evidence. Things did kind of take a turn just because of Helene, and that was kind of complicated. So once we came back on campus last year, I went right to Janet and I just said, hey, here's what happened. Let's figure this out. And she loved it. I kind of wish I went to her in the first place, because she was like, oh, this is gonna be a great story, and I was like, oh, why didn't I tell you this
Janet is so
sooner?
great. She is willing to help with anything, so she's awesome.
No, working with her has been crazy. I don't want to say I haven't had a lot of success with working with people higher up, but she's just so, like, she has no reason to give me respect, and she does, you know, and she, like, puts me up on a pedestal sometimes, and it's crazy. Like, she's literally writing my letter of recommendations for grad school, which is so funny because, like, you know, she's not has anything to do with atmospheric science, but she loves to speak on behalf of, like, this program and the integration of everything. So she is really the best. So
I feel like she's very open-minded because I've interviewed her for a couple of other things, and she always just has so much to say. She's always so positive.
Yeah.
I love Jenna.
Well, she also, and I'm in SAC too, but she is, I think, holds like some position of the representative of the smaller D1 schools. Like, she is the representative out of, like, how many Division 1, like 300.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah. So, but for good reason. I think so. Yeah.
I thought you had your
I
next
did.
question. Okay. No,
Sorry,
go
that
ahead.
was a long tangent.
No, it was okay. That was good though. With the program that you have, would you mind expanding it to other schools or other like outdoor sports leagues and giving them like the tools that you use so then they can also get accurate like weather information instead of just using the weather app that's kind of inaccurate because sometimes it'll say it's 60 and then we'll go to practice and I'm freezing cold.
Yeah.
Or I'll walk out of practice and I'm like sweating, like right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're inside, but like even outside, it's.
Yeah. So I guess honestly, I don't want to say where I got the idea from, but I do know that big schools, they have the emergency managers either themselves or hire meteorologists to forecast for games, and so that's why I knew there would be an opportunity here because obviously we're not affording those extra meteorologists. We don't have a football team, like whatever. So I think I would definitely. So right now, that's what I was gonna say. Is me and Sophie London are creating a website for the rest of. I mean, I hope that everyone can use it on campus, honestly. But I think why I created the program for the forecasting in the first place is like coaches, especially, and higher up people. They don't know what information is correct and what is has the most what's it called, like you can trust it the most, and so I'm creating a website right now that just you don't have to look up anything. It puts all the information in one spot of all the stuff you need to know, so like the current temperature, the 10-day, if there's severe weather events coming through, and Sophie is getting all of that information and putting it all in an easy to access website and app specifically for UNCA's campus. The main reason I want to use it is because I want coaches and everyone to be able to look at this and be like, okay, maybe we need to change practice to this time, or maybe we need to reschedule a game, or I don't know, just with baseball, maybe I need to take the tarp off at this time and put it back on at this time. But also, someone mentioned this the other day, like the tours that they lead here, back in, I think it was August or September, like they literally almost got struck by lightning. Like the flagpole literally got struck by lightning. So like, want to expand it to them and everyone else because, like I said, the weather apps are just, I don't even know where the weather app on your phone, where the central location is, because especially in the mountains, like when you change your location, it's, because what side of the mountains are you on? Like, what position are you? Because that significantly changes temperature. If you're like in Charlotte, it'd be different. Yeah. But like
we're in the mountains.
Yeah. And mountain meteorology is crazy. So I think it's like
I can't even get into
it. I can't even get into it myself. But yeah.
I mean, all of this is. Honestly, it blows my mind every day because we deal with weather every single day. It's how we know how to get up in the morning, like how we're gonna go about our business, and what you've done is really, really impressive, especially for an undergraduate student. In these spaces, we talk about a lot of like male-dominated fields, and have you ever felt like underestimated? I mean, even with just like working with the baseball coach, we love him, but I feel like he kind of, underestimated, like, oh, like, I can help her do this.
Yes.
But it's more of like, no, I can help you with all these tasks and things to help you save money. Even with that, has there been other instances where you felt underestimated or undermined by people who think you're not capable of doing stuff just because of how you look?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm like, no offense, but, like, I would never look at you in public and be like, oh, yeah, this girl loves weather. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I would just like you to expand on that.
No, yeah. So I guess it all comes back down to when I first got here again, because first of all, my field is ultra competitive. I don't think anyone understands, like, the level of competitiveness that happens in atmospheric science and meteorology fields. It's ridiculous. So that on its own is super difficult to deal with. But when I first got here, that's when I first saw it. It was like, I was in it's called a map discussion class. Anyone can join it. And like I said, I had no idea what I was doing at the time. Like, I didn't know really anything. And at first I was sitting in that classroom and everyone was saying all these things that were so confusing, and the equations are up on the board, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I have no idea what's going on. I'm so stupid. I'm so blah. And then after like 2 or 3 months, I looked back at it and I realized it was like, wow, those people were just saying things to sound smart. Like, they were saying things to, not in the most simple way, not in the way that everyone else in the room could understand, but just to sound more complicated and try to confuse people. And so then that's when I realized, like, wow, this field is not to help people. It's very hard to find people that want to help one another. I guess it depends also, where you're looking specifically. But yeah, just like having to prove myself in my major had been so difficult. Like, honestly, when I first got here, I really struggled to find any friends in my major. Nobody really wanted to work with me. I think everyone thought I just wanted to copy answers from them because I'm just like the blonde athlete, and like, no way this girl actually knows.
Like, the athlete part especially doesn't help.
Yeah, no, because honestly, people, I'll say crap on, I guess, but people crap on student athletes in my major, honestly. Like, I've had that experience both here and then at my internships and stuff, and I've always felt like, at first I kind of proved myself, on my own without trying, but now I'm used to that process, and whenever I'm in front of a new group of people, I feel like I need to prove myself, and it sucks because I don't want to, because I don't feel like I should have to do that. Yeah. But, I just
You've already worked to be here.
Yeah. So I just put my nose down and grind and show people what I can do, and I feel like that shuts people up real fast, and people start being like, totally she actually knows what she's talking about. But yeah, I did want to say though too is like, I realized this the other day before we went to this podcast, but it's so funny to go from our team, which is all females, and trying to work with girls all the time and talk and communicate to girls all the time, and then go to a classroom that's male dominated, and then being with these, like, I don't want to say egotistical, but to some extent egotistical group of people. It's just so funny, like, how I talk to people changes, and how I approach problems change, because it's just different genders, so it's just different. Like, very interesting to see. But I feel like overall it's just made me really well versed in handling situations that I feel like other people in my major don't have to, like, they don't get exposed to so soon. Like, I feel like I feel more ready. It's unfortunate that I even have to be ready for these situations, but I feel like I know how to handle myself, and I kind of understand how people think beforehand, and I feel like I always have the mindset of I need to work hard in front of anyone, and I feel like even though that is annoying sometimes, and it's annoying that I do have to prove myself to people, it's like it teaches me and has taught me to always have a work ethic around anyone you're with, and to always show people what you're capable of, no matter what from the beginning,
Yeah.
and just like show what you're capable of, I guess. So
I feel like that comes with being an athlete too. Like
yeah.
we've had to do that since, I mean, I don't know how long you guys have been playing sports, but like a really long time. We've had to prove ourselves. Everything that we
Yeah.
do is watched and studied and critiqued all the time.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you know, we never really get out of that in a sense. Like when
That's true,
when we
yeah.
go into the real world, it's like, okay, we have a big girl job. We're still being critiqued, watched, and
Yes.
everything that we do, especially
Yes.
as women. So
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I feel like especially in the classroom, since we are athletes, I know my teachers expect way more from me. Even though I have way more on my plate than a regular student, they expect more from me because of my work ethic, my discipline. So it's just like I can never get away from always having to constantly prove myself or be watched
Yeah.
or be critiqued, like you were saying.
yeah.
So yeah. Next. Cut. No.
Good.
Oh, okay. I just want to talk about you moving forward. So you want to get your PhD, and do you know where you want to go to get?
Yeah.
All right, like explain the whole process
Yeah.
because
Okay.
we've
okay.
talked about it a lot.
Yeah, so where do I even start? So, like I said, I guess I've always known I wanted to go to grad school from a really young age. I just know that I love research, and I know that I thrive in research settings and, you know, working with a team, working with other people, because I would love to stop taking exams and tests because I'm so bad at that. But anyways, yeah, so at first, everyone says apply to your master's, but in my field, it's kind of different because everything is based off of proposals and grants for certain projects. And so, to my understanding, PhD programs in my field are what are usually fully funded. So, like, you either get the money or you don't. It's not like a scholarship like undergrad where like they pay for, you know, a quarter, like whatever amount it is. It's like you either get your $30,000 a year salary as a PhD student or you don't. For masters, I've heard that you have to basically, I think it is more related to undergrad where like you have to find scholarships and stuff, because I don't think there is any salary or funding. So when I came around the idea of grad school last year, everyone says do your master's first, but I've always known I really wanted to get my PhD just because I know at some point, it's always been my goal to be able to bring more atmospheric science programs and meteorology programs to other colleges, just because I know, like, and I think this kind of fed into why I didn't go on a direct track right away, is because there was no access to it, you know, like there's no way I was ever going to play soccer at like a Penn State or something, and that was the closest school to me, or like a Rutgers. Which is crazy because especially in my area, it's South Jersey, the weather is honestly it's concentrated of like severe weather events there. Like we see everything. We see like snowfall events, severe weather, or precip events. We're right on the coast, so we see hurricanes. Like you see literally everything there. And it made me so mad, like, why there's so many universities here, why does nobody have atmospheric science and meteorology? So that's kind of what kind of led me to be like, okay, I need to get my PhD at some point because I need to be able to teach at some point. And so as I've had that idea, I just kind of really loved the idea of teaching also because, especially as I've struggled throughout my career, I just really want to be able to encourage people to do the hard things, you know, because I feel like I've run into so many people like, oh, I don't know, I could never do that, I'm not smart enough. And I'm like, no, you know, because I was in the same situation. And I just want to be able to be that person to push people to do things that are difficult and uncomfortable, because I feel like that's what makes you grow. And I wish I had someone like that before all of this.
Right.
And I think things would have maybe been different, you know, and not that I would change anything, but if I can change someone's life like that, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's basically the roundabout answer of why I want to do my PhD and not a master's. But I know for a fact I want to stay in academia and research, so I just want to keep publishing papers. And my big thing is, I mean, I don't know if we want to go down this tangent, but Helene like really inspired me to want to be able to help the understanding and awareness of weather, just so something like that can never happen again. Obviously, that's a very grand goal. But if I can like have one person that, you know, I saved their life because they knew what was going on, or one or two people because they saw the models and they were actually right and they were like, wow, I should leave, you know, like that's what's important to me. And if I can make the 1% difference in the world, like I want to take that, and that's why I want to start being able to research and publish papers within my field to hopefully contribute to the greater good of, you know, the general public. But yeah, so the PhD process is I kind of mentioned it before, it's just like grants and proposals, and things are really complicated right now just because of like the government being shut down, and just like not knowing who has money and who does have money and doesn't have money. So I'm looking at a bunch of schools. So OU, I had my internship there, so I'm definitely looking there. UC San Diego is my number one though. I currently should have my name published on their paper. Looked at complicated, but atmospheric river events. They're large transports of water that hit the west coast. Just like the paper looks at the observations and compares them to models, so I might get my name on that, which would be sick. And then I'm also doing a smaller, same topic but smaller thing for my scientific writing class right now. But yeah, so I love San Diego, really want to go there. Not sure if they have funding or not. And then I just have a bunch of other schools that I know, well, not that I know for sure have funding, but have interview with Miami, have talked to people at Texas Tech.
Come to Miami.
Where Maryland, and then I'm looking, I haven't told you this yet, but maybe CU Boulder, Washington.
Really?
Thinking about it, yeah. I'm going to have to apply to so many schools. It's just the application fees are really expensive, but I have to apply in the next month or so. But yeah, the whole process I think is kind of different than a lot of other people. Like meteorology and atmospheric science programs are a lot later than other programs, and I think it's a lot about connecting, and yeah, it's just a lot about connections. So I've been having tons of meetings with people. Like I didn't even get to tell you about my I had a meeting with San Diego, and I sat in on their lab meeting like 2 days ago. So yeah, just a bunch of like random meetings with random advisors. It's kind of like recruiting where you're like, hey, do you have money? You know, so do you think I'm good enough?
Do you think I can go there?
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of crazy how it's kind of gone full circle, you know, so, but yeah, we'll see.
That's all so crazy. I mean, we need to catch up anyway. But, I mean, you kind of mentioned Helene, and that was in my questions of, like, you kind of worked closely with professors and people here who, I think you said, actually predicted the forecast for Helene, and you feel as if people kind of undermined it, how severe the storm was going to be. I think we all did.
Yeah.
So just to kind of like wrap up my questions, could you expand how that experience kind of shaped you and inspired you, as you said?
Oh, I'm already getting goosebumps.
It's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm getting. Okay, let's get ready. Yeah, so again, like I said, I feel like I've learned so much in the past year and 2 years, and Helene happened, a year ago already. So definitely didn't know nearly as much as I know now, but I think it contributed to my overall knowledge in general. But like I said, like I know where to look for the right information, and so do my professors and my classmates and everyone, obviously. And so when I saw Helene was coming, I was actually in a tropical meteorology class, which is so funny, kind of ironic. And I'll literally never forget, I was in class, we were doing what's called a weather briefing. So you're just explaining like what's going on right now, what's going to happen. And I saw, I think it was like a Tuesday, and Helene hit like Thursday, Friday. And, someone said, hey, this is Helene. Looks like it's going to hit Asheville. We're going to get a lot of rain, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, that's so cool. wow, little did
No,
I know. Yeah,
no.
like, and my professor was like, no, Lexi, I really don't think you understand. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? She was like, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's gonna be bad. Like, we are not gonna have class. I was like, not gonna have class? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm so
Like,
confused.
come on, man. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
And so then, you know, everyone starts asking me these questions, you know, from the team, they're like, is it really going to be that bad? And again, like, I didn't really have a lot of knowledge. It was more just like, I knew it was going to be bad. I talked to my professors. They're just saying, you know, this is going to be a significant event. And I started looking at the National Weather Service for our weather forecasting office, which is Greensville, Spartanburg. And they were saying some of the craziest things on Twitter, like, catastrophic flooding will be similar to the 1912 event, and I'm just like, wow, okay, this is going to be rough. And so I didn't really know what to expect. I don't think anybody knew what to expect, my professors included, because you can put numbers to things and say like 10 inches an hour. That's crazy. Anyways, but it just doesn't register unless you know everything. And because we don't really know about these events, especially in the mountains, it's really hard to envision what exactly is going to happen. And, you know, actually, and nobody knows this, but like, flooding events happen here. Like, that is a common, I don't want to say common, but it does happen like every 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
and
I heard that from,
Yeah.
or I think
from me, maybe.
well, from you, and when we went to that donor's house, they were telling us
Yes.
because
I brought that conversation up. Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's because.
of course you did.
Well, yeah. So like, I literally do. So I work with Dr. Miller and hike with him in the mountains to like collect rain data because of Hurricane Ivan that happened, I think, in 2006. And it was something, it wiped out I-40. Like, I-40 has been wiped out before. And so, like, that was something that people, NASA, NOAA, just didn't understand, was, like, why are rain events so bad in mountains? And it was just so misunderstood. And, like, I've been doing this field project for, 2 years now, before Helene hit. Like, this is, like, a known thing in our field is, like, Asheville gets hit with floods. So it's, like, how it goes.
So
and
is it just like every 15 years Asheville's gonna be underwater? Is that just like a cycle, you think?
I don't know if it's hard to tell. I don't really know much about the 1912 event, but Ivan obviously was also a tropical cyclone, like remnants of a tropical cyclone also. So it's more just about like the uncommon track sometimes. So like usually hurricanes go a certain way, and I guess it's just that rare event that it comes up through Asheville, and if it maintains that intensity. So I think it's more about that, if I had to guess. I'm not like, don't quote me on that. But yeah, so anyways, needless to say, like, I always say that we knew Helene was coming. Me personally, I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't know to what extent, and so that was tough. But it's more just about like the experience and seeing everything happen firsthand of like, wow, this is a catastrophic event and we had no clue. And just like having to, like, we were all safe, and thank God, I am so thankful for it every day that all of us were safe on campus.
Yeah, we were all able to stay together.
But like, even the pure fact of the stress of like, how do I get out, like that will stick with us forever. And I think those are the things that were preventable to some extent. And so once Helene ended, obviously I think we all experienced of like, wow, we didn't even know how bad it was until we were out of there, just because we had no connection to the real world, honestly. And so after the fact is really what made me understand more. I talked to a bunch of my professors, many of which had a lot of issues, like Dr. Godfrey. He was like, had to chainsaw trees to get people out of the neighborhood. They were using like crazy rescue stories from my professors. But when I got to finally catch up with Dr. Godfrey, Dr. Miller, all the professors in my department, they told me that they had been trying to contact emergency services at UNC Asheville and be like, hey, this is going to be really bad. We know it's going to be like up to 16 inches of flooding, which some places got even like
it was
30.
way more than
Yeah,
that.
well,
It was, like,
16 is
up to
absurd.
the light pole.
Yeah.
You
And
could take a backstroke.
Seriously,
In
I was
the
confused.
streets,
I was so confused on how
not
the
even
water was that
joking.
high and just sitting there.
well, I'll
I
get
was
to that.
so confused. I'm like, why is it not just flowing? It's just like rising.
Yeah, no,
There's
I'll
nothing
explain
stopping
that.
the
I'll
water.
explain that.
My brain. Yeah.
But yeah, so Dr. Godfrey was like, yeah, we literally asked emergency services at UNCA if they needed help, and they said, no, we're good. So we literally, you know, and obviously they knew what was, at least to some extent, how bad it was going to be.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to help, but nobody really took on to that. And again, like the National Weather Service were sending out these crazy messages. Like they don't take those things lightly, because we know, and when I say we, like meteorologists, we all know that like we don't want to freak people out. People have weather anxiety, like that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like they use their words very, very lightly. Not lightly. What's the word for that? I don't know. But whatever. They were using crazy wording. They knew it was coming. And
Like
when
choose their words carefully.
Yes,
Okay.
very, very carefully. And looking back at it, like these tweets were getting like 4 likes. They were getting like no sense, nothing. Like it boggles my mind how little people knew. And that leads me to my next thing is like we had our Helene symposium and a few weeks back, and all my professors have been doing research on Helene, and they have been going past through the records and everything. And I didn't even know this, and this is the craziest thing to me. There's models that predict how far the river is gonna expand with water, and how many feet it's gonna go over. And so for Helene, they were saying that it was gonna go over 30 feet in some points.
Why nobody told me that?
And
Why didn't nobody let us
Nobody
know?
told me nothing.
Thought we were gonna do backstroke in the street. Nobody told us.
And so so
Would
people,
have been out a long time ago.
yeah, exactly. It's
I would have
crazy.
left 3 days before, and I had known that.
Yeah, but I literally.
What
What'd you
It's
say?
like 13 hours away. I would have been far.
Where are you
Girl,
from?
I'm from South Florida.
No
Where we get a lot of
way.
hurricanes, but I've never dealt with something
Miami.
like this before. Like, I was like, I feel like everyone's very underprepared. Nobody knows what to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously Florida has hurricanes, and I feel like we would miss, like, 1 day of school and then go back.
Yeah. It's-
But at least in Florida, like I see like videos all the
You're
time, like they
ready.
do evacuations.
They do,
like,
yeah.
Who do evacuations? We're, like, in
Maybe-
the water swimming.
Yeah. Well, their evacuations are sent out, but the
We're doing
Floridians
backstrokes.
don't respond.
Like, in
They're
Jamaica,
like,
they were doing, like, doing flips in the water during their hurricane in Jamaica.
that
We
was
do that in
crazy.
Florida, like, go outside, make TikToks in the hurricane. I don't know how anybody has like electricity or not electricity, like internet connection to like load a TikTok sound, but they
Well,
make it
that
happen.
was that's true. Yeah.
I don't know how
But
they would do it, but they made it happen.
yeah, but it was so these river models, like obviously I didn't even see them again, like 2 likes on Facebook, you know, and it quite literally said, and this is the craziest part, is like there was a line on the model of what was record breaking, and we were like 15 feet over that line. And to be able to predict something record breaking like that is, I don't think, I mean, if anyone has science background knowledge, it's like models can't predict anything past record breaking, really. And so that is the accuracy of the actual scientists doing it themselves. What are you okay
What are you
with that?
doing?
yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
just like mind boggled. Like I just like
She's mind boggled.
I'm like
Yeah, it's literally insane.
I'm like
And so now I just always look back on it and I'm just like, I'm gonna fix this. Sorry. This needs to be addressed, you know, this huge disconnect between so I don't think anybody understands the accuracy that meteorologists have, you know, and this is why we go to school. This is why we put our blood, sweat, and tears to this hard major, is because it's a beautiful science. Like you can literally see how it's obviously not perfect.
You guys are like psychic.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I literally
like psychic.
predictions. That's what I was thinking when she was talking about how she knew that like we were gonna have rainfall and then the lightning was gonna
The
come
waters.
for this much of a time. I was like, oh, she's a psychic.
No,
I was
well,
like,
Raven
like
Baxter.
that.
She can see the future.
well, that's what I did want to mention this too, is like when I was at Drexel, I just remember looking up at the sky and being like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, look at everything happening. I have no clue what's going on. And now I can like look at the sky and have exactly, I know exactly what's happening. It's like a superpower. It's like the coolest thing ever is to like be able to look at things and be like, wow,
I'm just gonna
that's
walk
happening
around
over
with
there.
you. Like places. You're like,
Well, you know that.
Well,
you
yeah.
know that. I'd be like, convection.
yeah, I have to hear it all the time on practice. Like, Sage, look at that cloud. I think it's
I'm
gonna
like,
storm.
we're like down 1-0, and I'm like, that cloud over
That
there
cloud
is really
looks
cool.
really cool. I'm like, Lexi, shut up.
She's passionate. Isn't
Yeah,
she?
it's I can't control it. I'm such a nerd. But anyways, but yeah, I think like after seeing everything that happened, how it affected people personally, and just seeing the potential of being able to help people. Like I always say that if the university could have sent out one message before, just saying,
Yes.
get some gas, fill your bathtub,
No,
we
they
could have
sent,
been helped
they
so
sent a
much.
message like 24 hours before saying like, we're not gonna have school tomorrow.
Yeah, bro. That's
You can
why.
go home, go home.
But no, did they
It's
even
already
say
pouring.
that?
Yes,
That's
it's
why
already
I went
pouring
off
outside.
campus and I went to
It's
the
not
mall.
visible to drive. I'm like, do they really think I'm gonna drive home right now? I'm gonna place my boat right here still.
That's exactly why I went off campus and was planning on going to the mall the next day. Was because they said we didn't have any class. So I just left
They
campus.
said to us,
Yes,
Saturday
we-
practice. I was like, the field is
Yeah.
gone.
No,
The
they
field is
literally the
gone.
night before they were like, yeah, if you can go home, you should go home. We're not gonna have class tomorrow. Okay, cool. Like day off, week, months off.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I literally remember. All I can remember, because again, like, all I cared about was checking on everybody. And once it happened, and like I saw how bad the streets were flooded, but like still, I don't know. That happens in like where I'm from when hurricanes hit. That's common. The streets get flooded. So I was just checking on everyone. Everyone seemed to be okay, and it wasn't really until we went to the fire station.
Yeah.
And the Red Cross starts coming in, and I was like, oh wow, this is really bad. And all I remember thinking about is like, am I still gonna have my thermodynamics exam that I haven't studied for on Monday? Is that gonna happen? Like that's all I could think about. And then they were like, I remember running into Janet and the chancellor, and they're like, tell everybody to go home. And I was like, are we gonna get in trouble? You know, like I had no idea the severity
I think
of
your exam was probably the least of that.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, people showed up for class and stuff on that Friday.
What?
Yeah, we still
What do
joke
you
about
mean?
it. They were like, you know,
Oh,
the
no.
buildings flooded, and they're like, I guess I don't have class
Why, are we showing
today.
up for, why would we show up for class?
I don't think you understand that was so bad. But anyways, yeah, it's more so after the fact and seeing the effects of everything and seeing how well the models did, how much the scientists tried to communicate the catastrophe that was coming, but nothing came of it. It was such a disastrous event, and so it kind of gave me this motivation of like, and I mentioned this before, of how I struggle with my confidence sometimes, and it's just so crazy to me how I'm doing something so difficult. Like I could never see myself doing this before. It was just a confidence issue. But when I was struggling last year especially, it just kind of made me realize like, who cares about me? You know, I need to do this for other people. And I feel like that's kind of the thing I needed to push me past myself, was like, this is something way bigger than myself. And if I want to be able to help people in any way, I need to stop thinking about myself and stop thinking about, oh my God, I'm not smart enough for this exam and quiz and blah, blah, blah. Like, who cares? I need to just get there, do it. Because I always knew I was passionate enough, and passion could get me through a lot of things, but I think it's just what I needed to widen my perspective of why I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, because I'm not doing it just because of me and because I love what I'm doing, but also because I want to help people.
Yeah.
And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what meteorologists want to do, is that's all we want to do, is help people. And I think people don't really understand that, or kind of don't see that in the scientists. And again, we're not most of the time, not very social people. I'm the exception. But like everyone does that for helping people at the end of the day. So yeah. So I mean, I think it definitely helped me grow in a significant way, and it sucks that such a huge horrible thing had to happen for that, but I always think of it as the silver lining. So yeah.
Well, that was a lot of information, but that was like honestly so like great to hear, and just kind of like air everything out and really just have like an episode like dedicated to women in STEM, because you're not the only person out there who probably feels like that.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah. Anything else?
No. I learned a lot.
I know.
Coming into this, even though I am in meteorology, I didn't really know much about anything. So I'm glad I got to like hear the background of how you started your program, what made you want to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, and don't use your weather app. Use the National Weather Service.
Or just come to Lexi.
Or just come to me. I would love it. Okay, cool.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.